Come on, go live. Hello, Chris. How are you, man?
Anthony, good morning. Happy Tuesday. How are you? It sounds like you've got something on your mind this morning, Anthony. What's going on?
Yeah, I had a guy try to sell me a coffin yesterday.
Really? Gosh.
I told him that's literally the last thing I need.
I feel like maybe Stephanie's already given that joke. I can't remember. Or maybe are we at the point where we're recycling dad jokes?
No. I have a very diligent list of things that I've told and not. So
Oh, you actually keep notes on your dad joke game.
I keep copious notes on my dad joke.
Do you keep your notes? Do you rank them afterwards? Like, wow, that was really bad. That was.
You can't rank a dad joke. You can't rank a dad joke.
You can't score that.
You can't score that.
Also, what's the metric that we would score that by?
Whether or not they made the dad laugh. That's the only metric. Did I laugh telling it? That's it. That's all that matters.
I really do think that is one of the great theories of How to Founder is the dad joke theory about what is a good dad joke. The person who tells it laughs is really
yes, exactly right.
Anthony, what if your exit destroys more value than your company ever created? Here's a shocking reality for you. You ready to be shocked, Anthony? It's shocking.
Sure I am. I'm ready.
Most founders spend years planning their exit strategy and 0 hours planning what they'll do with themselves after the deal closes. You and I have both had that experience. Michael Michalowicz sold his second company and spent 6 months in what he calls purposeless drift, burning cash on bad ventures. His breakthrough came when he stopped starting and started documenting what he'd never do again. Today on How to Founder, Anthony, we are going to be talking about life after the exit. There is no such thing. We founders, we just dissolve. We go after we exit. We just sort of turn into ethereal mist. I am your host, Chris Franks.
Step one, exit first.
Yeah. With me is once again is Mr. Anthony Franco, dad joke captain of the universe, and we are joined by Mr. Tom Freiling. Freiling, Franks, and Franco. We're starting a law firm. If anybody's interested, it's going to be great. And Tom Freiling led a digital publishing company to NASDAQ, sold it to build 2 more ventures while learning that exits create identity crises that money cannot solve. He's a 3-time founder, member, and best-selling HarperCollins author. Welcome. It is good to see you, Tom. Welcome.
Thanks,
I'm glad that we're talking about life after the exit, and now we're going to be doing a law firm together. It's going to be terrific. All right, let's just get right into it. I think that you and I, Anthony, we've had this experience. We drive towards this exit. The exit is the mythical thing. It is, we've finally done it. We finally crossed the finish line. We've gotten some sort of a payday. I put a question mark because I was one of the few that didn't get the payday after that. But that's a story for my therapist. However, afterwards, it can be a very dark and difficult time for founders. Tell me about your experience, and then Anthony, I want to hear about yours.
So you want me to go first? Yeah.
You go first. Always. I've always I talk to Anthony way too much.
So I've been involved in more than one exit, and they were all very different from each other. My first exit, I went to work for the business who acquired my business for many years, actually, about 6 years.
Wow.
So that was a very different experience than just exiting and then you're gone. Poof, you're gone. I don't know which is harder or which is easier, honestly. They both bring challenges.
I would say so.
Yeah.
I mean, Anthony, I kind of feel like you're in this environment right now. I mean, it's one of these things, these times after you've gone
the in between times. Yeah. So my big exit, I also went to work for the company, and 2 years later was fired from that company for not being a culture fit.
I didn't
So
know you made it 2 years.
Common. I think that's
Yeah.
common, actually. I've heard that before.
yeah, at first it hurt, and then I was like, yeah, I didn't like any of those people. They were right to fire me.
And yeah, I'm not a culture fit. Turns out that we're right. All right. So yeah.
At first, I think it's fun to be a part of another organization, usually a much larger organization, right? Because usually the buyer is a bigger company than your company. So, I mean, at first, there's a lot of excitement surrounding that and opportunities for more growth, which is exciting.
It's this moment where we as founders, we always tend to believe that we have these screwed up little companies. Like we have all these problems. We don't know. And then suddenly you get into a big company and you're like, wait, my company is actually pretty well run. Yeah. This is a mess. I don't know. I always felt kind of good to be looking at a bigger company and realizing that, all right, bigger companies have the same problems that I had as a startup.
Yeah, getting acquired so that your company becomes more operationally efficient is like buying an airplane for an airliner for the free pretzels. They just don't work.
Yeah. Very good analogy. All right. This is really, I think, probably the heart of it, Tom, which is you called the time right after founder's exit the most dangerous moment in an entrepreneurial's life. And I kind of agree. This is a really listless, difficult time for founders. First of all, let's start with the hard stuff. Why? Why is it so hard for us as founders? This was supposed to be the place where we're going to. This was supposed to be the place where we've been working so hard to get to. And we get there, and sometimes it's kind of terrible.
Yeah, I think it's like anything else in life. Once you reach your goal, it's probably like a quarterback winning the Super Bowl, an NFL quarterback winning the Super Bowl. And what do you do afterwards? You try to win another one, but it doesn't happen very often. So I think it's true of it. I think it's similar to a lot of other things in life. You reach the goal. What do you do after you reach the goal? Right. So, but it depends on where you're going. If you're going to stay with the company, with the buyer, or if you're just going to go off and do something entirely different, which is probably even harder. I think it probably is harder. But yeah, I don't think it's dissimilar from the rest of life, actually.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like I got deeply involved in endurance athletics for a while. And so I've done a few Ironman triathlons. Training for an Ironman's great. Racing's great. The week after is great because you're on a high. And then 2 weeks after, you're like,
I think it's a little so I'm going to challenge you, Tom, on that a little bit. I think it's a little bit different than achieving a goal in life because at least you kind of get wrapped up as in an identity of being the founder of that company, being the leader. And all of a sudden you lose that identity. You're no longer the one. You have to check with people to make decisions, right? Not that you didn't have to do that before you exited, but now it's like legit. You could, you really kind of are signing up to answering to somebody else.
Yeah, you did it before because you wanted to be a good leader and you just want to check in with your people.
Yeah.
Now
it's like you did it to appear as though you're a good leader.
Yeah, exactly.
And then there's also this notion that I'd love to get your take on this on both of these, Tom. So the other one is entrepreneurship is extremely lonely, and it's kind of worth it to be lonely as you're building something. So there's a reward or a payoff that you're striving for, but then you exit and you just realize now you're just lonely without a goal. Like now you just kind of have to live in that loneliness because, I mean, frankly, I didn't build a lot of friendships. I didn't build a lot of relationships. I didn't work on my family relationships. I just was kind of lost and meandering that way too. I'd love your thoughts on that, Tom.
Yeah. I agree. It can be very lonely. Although I think I learned after a long time, you're as lonely as you want to be. That's I think the bottom line. And I think sometimes founders, they build their own silos and they just stay there, and they get lonely, and it's like a vicious circle is what it is. So I learned that there's a lot of things you can do to lessen that lonely feeling. And when I sold my business to another business, I can attest to the fact that some of that loneliness did disappear, because suddenly I wasn't, at the very top of the organization. I wasn't by myself. I had coworkers who were really coworkers. They weren't working for me. They were working with me all of a sudden. And I had layers above me. I just didn't have to go to one guy for a decision. I went to one guy. He had to go to another guy. He had to go to another guy. So it'd take a long time to get a decision. But thinking back, I was definitely less lonely because suddenly the teammates were actually teammates. But all that being said, I think a lot of founders make the mistake of they just get stuck in their silo, and then they complain about being lonely, but they don't do anything about it. So I think there's some stuff you can do about that.
Ouch. Yeah, maybe I just don't like people. Maybe that's my problem.
Yeah, no, I think it's the other way around, Anthony. It's just right.
Fair.
Yeah, really fun. I want to start by talking about the thing that's probably maybe the most difficult thing to talk about, which is, and Anthony, I don't know that even you and I have really talked about it, which is the payday, the money. We do this work typically and are really, really poor. Like, I can't tell you how many times I didn't pay myself. I can't, my first company, the one that didn't get paid on, went into all the classic stupid entrepreneurial mistakes, went into credit card debt, all that sort of stuff. And so at some point in time, typically when you exit, you make some payday here. And, most of these paydays are not to the point where you're going to go buy an island. You're going to, suddenly become, you're going to buy the place next to Zuckerberg on Kauai. Like, that's probably not going to happen. But
Tom's living on an island right now.
Yeah, exactly. You're on an, I'd say, except for Tom, apparently. But I want to start with you, Anthony, and then I want to get your reaction, Tom, which is, it's nice. Like, there is a moment when that financial security, when you get paid, it actually starts to kind of settle some of that fear and anxiety. At least it did for me, Anthony. I want to get your take on that, and then I want Tom to react.
This is
go ahead.
Sorry, I'm kind. Go ahead, Tom, because I need to think about my answer on this one.
I think that it's a funny thing. The money obviously is important, super important, but I think for many founders, in a weird way, emotionally, it might not be the most important thing. It's the exit itself that is more exhilarating, I think. So, I mean, yeah, the money's great, but I don't think that puts you in a place where you're just automatically going to be happy. You're joyful the rest of your life because of the money. So I think it's an interesting thing that way. I don't think that's what it's all about. But I think
that's kind of the place that I was driving to, Anthony. Yeah. But I wanted to get your take, because again, you had a couple of really nice exits there along the way.
Yeah. And that's, I don't know. I don't think it's really all about the money, actually. It's a part of the equation, obviously. It's, that's a lot of fun, but it is not everything, and it does not cure or heal everything as well. So, in fact, money, as we all know, money doesn't help cure a lot of problems or other challenges you have in life. So it's not all about that. But
it intensifies your personality. The famous Bill Cosby quote about cocaine and money are the same, actually. He asked a guy, what does cocaine do for you? And he's like, it intensifies who you are. And Bill Cosby looks at him and goes, yeah, but what if you're an asshole? and that's exactly right. When it comes to money, it's like, it just shines a light on who you actually are.
Yeah.
Also, I didn't know, you're being brave. Didn't know we could quote Bill Cosby. I didn't know that was a thing. I think we're back.
He was a comic back in the day. Pretty good one.
Yeah. Okay. So I think that this is the place I wanted to start this with, which is, okay, yes, there is this thing that happens, and typically we get paid some sort of money, and it does help. Like, it does sort of help calm the nerves a little bit. Last exit I had, Tom, I didn't make a lot of money, but I split it and gave half to my employees. That made me feel really good, because they helped me build the company. And for them, some of that money was life-changing. It was really good. And so it kind of helped me feel good about that. But But again, I think that this is the one thing that I think is universally true that I've seen with our friends, Anthony, some of which have made a whole lot of money, is that the money does not replace the startup. It does not replace that sense of purpose. It doesn't replace that sense of drive and meaning in their life. And I think that's the one thing that I don't know that I really understood that at first. How about you, Anthony?
Well, I've always looked at money as a resource to build cooler stuff, not to buy cooler stuff. So I don't have hobbies. I've talked about this before. It's not like that I bought a boat and jet skis because I don't like the lake, right? I went and bought things that helped me, that gave me better tools to build things. I bought a 3D printer. I bought tools for my workshop. I bought things that I could actually make, and I bought a really nice laptop. So I went and it gave me the resources to do cooler stuff. Now, it also is a double-edged sword because it also gave me the resources to do the things I shouldn't be doing, right? So I started building stuff that it's like, there was stuff that were personal projects that I thought would be cool that I didn't do the due diligence of doing product market fit and interviewing customers. I just thought, I could hire that stuff out. So it allows you to atrophy the things that actually allowed you to grow your business. Tom, I'd love your thoughts on that.
Yeah. Well, I think too, when you get an exit under your belt, then sometimes you can fool yourself into thinking you're more amazing than you actually are.
Oh, totally.
Yes.
Money,
totally. Yeah.
and so you got a fatter wallet. So then you're like, well, I can start things and sell things, and then you learn it's the second time around is not like the first time around. So at least
it's like that hubris actually works against you, like, because you just don't listen to the market. That early company when you were just trying to figure out how to get some product.
I have an exit. I know. Of course, I know. I have. I've had the exit.
Totally. All right. So if we stipulate the fact that, all right, we know this, and we know that getting to the exit, we know that oftentimes we struggle with money's great, but it doesn't really solve that purpose. Let's get into it. So what do we do? What is that thing? Obviously, as founders, we love spending time with other entrepreneurs. We love spending time with founders. I do think it's important that people that have been successful turn around and angel invest, but you shouldn't waste all your money on terrible ideas. Tom, help guide us here. How should we think about this post-exit time?
Wow, that's a great question. I mean, I think you need to maybe start thinking, I don't have the answer. Maybe it's time to reinvent yourself. I think the biggest mistake I made was not taking a break. I just jumped right back into it the next day. I didn't take a break. And looking back, I should have taken some breaks and thought about everything a little bit more.
Did you rush through? I mean, so obviously you were staying with the same company, and so you were put into an implementation role and like right away.
Right.
Did that sort of hurt your, well, I guess mental health, right? I mean, was it kind of just it's so stressful. And the day of closing is so stressful. Every single founder I know, and this is something I think a lot of founders that haven't gone through this, is the day of closing, you're not happy, you're just relieved.
It's true.
You're just, it's like the stress level just drops. Like I did not celebrate. I came home and went to bed.
Yeah.
When we closed that.
Yeah, for sure. I think a lot of founders make that mistake. I'm not a celebrator by nature anyway. I need to be, but I'm not. So, but I just think a lot of guys after they exit, they just jump right back into something because that's what they're accustomed to doing, right? They're accustomed to working their butts off every day. They don't know how to do anything other than that. So that's my biggest regret is not taking a little more time to enjoy it, celebrate it, and maybe be a little more intentional and thoughtful about the future rather than just continuing the rat race, because that's all I knew was the rat race.
Anthony, this is a perfect setup for you because I feel like this is exactly where you are. Like you don't know what rest is. Like vacation for you, sometimes you love your family, but like I know it's sometimes be painful because you're not doing and building stuff. Like that's your happy place. After your several exits, I know you've kind of been able to sit in these places. Tell us about that and how intentional that was. I mean, you've gone through what, 4 or 5 exits, something like that?
Six, but who's counting?
Who's counting exactly?
No, it's funny as I'm getting older. As I'm getting old, I enjoy my time with my family a lot more. And yeah, I think what Tom said about it's not about the money really resonated with me. It's about being able to build, being able to create value is what gets me up in the morning every morning. And after a couple of exits, I forgot that that's what makes me happy.
Yeah.
And I tried to be the big shot after the exit and made me miserable. So yeah, I do think that is absolutely true for me. I think it's true for a lot of founders that I talk to. They're like, I want to build something again. I want to get back to it.
I think so. I'll just give you my experience, Tom, and then I want to get your thoughts, which is, so after my last exit in the same space was incredibly unhealthy. Like I was physically unhealthy. I was mentally unhealthy. I needed some space and some time. I was really burned out. So I needed some space and time. My single job was I was a volunteer dog walker at the Pound, which was great for a long time. Great coworkers there at the, Different Dumb Friends League. It was terrific. But in that time, I started to do something I really enjoyed. And this is, I think, the thing that was really hard for me. I started to teach. I teach at CU Denver. I still teach at CU Denver. I loved it. But it didn't feed me the way that building a company did. And I was trying so hard to make this thing fit, this thing that I knew that I really love. I really love teaching. It feels like I'm making an impact. It feels like I'm doing something positive in the world. But I'll tell you, I was getting myself in trouble. And I was getting myself in trouble through a lot of different avenues, like of buying stupid stuff, doing stupid stuff. And now as I'm back in a company I'm building again, it feels like I'm putting on a t-shirt that fits me perfectly. It just feels right. Was that your experience? I know it's a long setup, but tell me about your experience.
I mean, it wasn't exactly my experience, I would say, but I mean, generally, once you're a founder, I mean, it's a blessing and a curse. It's hard not to be a founder again. It really is. But I think the older you get, maybe you figure stuff out a little bit better. You figure life out, and maybe it's not as hard. But yeah, it's a blessing and a curse. So I would say, like, when I exited and then I left, I was not a part of the new company. That was probably harder in that way, because I mean, after the day of closing, you're gone. It is done. It's over. Right, 100% over.
Yeah.
So that's different than, plopping yourself into a cubicle and continuing to work on the company. I mean, that's hard too. But when it's just over, poof, it's gone. That's weird.
I do think it's weird. Now, Anthony, I'm going to ask you this, is that have you come with some sort of ritual after an exit? Like, have you come to this place like where, hey, you take your team out to dinner or something like that, just to kind of get that moment? Because it's this very strange thing when you spend all your waking hours trying to build this thing, and most of you, and a lot of your sleeping hours too, trying to build this thing. And then suddenly the next day, maybe you're going to a cubicle, but it's a very different thing than doing that. Have you figured out some way?
I don't. It's really funny. Although my exits were you reflect on them, they were wins. There was no Tom said it again. There's no champagne cork moment. There's no celebration afterwards. Because exiting a business is, no matter how you slice it, is a painful process. It's stressful. It's hard. There's lawyers, and then there's lawyers, and then there's lots of lawyers.
And a few more lawyers.
And there's spreadsheets, and there's due diligence. And it's almost like, like instead of celebrating, you're just like, you collapse in exhaustion from it. And so I did not have a shame. And then invariably somebody's going to feel like that they should have gotten more, or you're dealing with the negative sides of it way more than you're dealing with the positive sides of it. That's been my experience anyway.
I mean, so we're talking about two different things here, Tom, which is we've got the business implications and the personal implications. They're all over the place, right? So I want to fast forward a little bit. You went, worked in the company, you exited that company. You finally are taking a deep breath. I think we all agree that maybe there should be like a mandated 30 days of doing nothing or something right after you exit. Like you probably do need to take a little bit of a vacation, take a little bit of a break, and actually do some sort of celebrating for your family, if not for yourself, right? Like just take your family on a nice vacation, be like, hey, sorry, I've been an asshole for the past 5 years. Please forgive me. Here's a nice vacation. Then what, right? So now you're sitting in this space. And again, I think this is the place where it's really hard. You do have skills, abilities, talents. You want to hang out with other founders. You may have some money and you may want to invest. Help me start to think through how you did it. What was the idea that drove you to the next company or to help and mentor or whatever else? How did you start to think through the time that you were going to go spend and what you're going to do with it?
Yeah, I don't know that I did, to be completely honest with you. I just kept on moving. So there was not much intention there on my part. I wish that I would have actually, but there wasn't. I mean, and I own a company today. So I launched back into it and, keep on keeping on.
Well, I'll ask the question the other way. So from here, you are now in a place where you can go give yourself some advice. Time machine, you go back to either the day of the exit, the day you leave your company. What would you say to yourself?
I would say be a little more patient, talk to more people, definitely talk to more people, get more advice from others. Don't just jump into it back, by yourself again. I mean, back to the lonely thing. I think that's the problem is it is lonely and you get used to that. You get used to the loneliness. In fact, I think sometimes you enjoy it almost. It's like you're comfortable there because, that's what you are. That's where you've been. So it's hard to break out of that. So, I think once you're there, you can just get stuck there forever and you stop seeking advice because that's the way it was. So, but it doesn't have to be that way all the time. But if you get used to it, lies with anything. It's like an addiction, I guess. You just keep on going back to the lonely silo over and over again. So to answer your question, I would get a lot more advice from other people.
That one stings because it feels very true. Anthony, what about you? What do you think?
Yeah, totally. I was actually just writing a note and I'll say it in the Founder Fundamentals again, but there is this idea of, you said, talk to others, go help other founders. Like go, if you want to have purpose and don't know and want to be patient about what you're going to do, then go help somebody else that needs your help. You have a lot of advice and experience and that could be immensely helpful. Connections, immensely helpful to another founder. So go get involved in your community locally and see if you can find some founders that could use your help.
Yeah,
I think that there's just a fundamental truism, and I think it's one of the reasons that you and I started this podcast. It's one of the reasons that you and I have hung out and been friends for so long, Anthony. Is that
we're friends? I didn't know we were friends yet. Okay, cool.
I mean, we just crossed over, but remember,
okay.
You can tip back.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I've got a friend. That's amazing.
Yeah. You got one feeling and one friend.
One feeling and one friend, or one friend feeling. I don't know what that means.
I feel like this is such a strange job that we do. It's such a weird thing that we do. There's very few other people that understand it, but hanging out with other founders and other entrepreneurs and other people that have done this work, you almost have to, I think it's like, it's the only people that actually get when you say like, oh yeah, I'm pretty stressed out. A normal employee says they're stressed out. They're not stressed out. They don't understand the whole like, oh, if I don't figure out how to get another 100K in the bank, I'm not making payroll. Like that's stress. That's a hard day. Right? How do you do that? Do you talk to other founders? Are you work with other founders? You have a group? How do you approach that sense of community around other founders?
I joined a CEO group once. That was somewhat helpful. There's a bunch of them out there. I don't think
Vistage or something like that.
Yeah, I don't think it wasn't a cure-all for me, frankly. But it was helpful. But I'll challenge you on the part about is being a founder is the hardest. It's the hardest job. I used to think that too, but everybody views life from their own perspective,
Yeah.
and
I don't think it's the hardest job. I do
it's
think I
hard
can
for
tell you it's the
everybody.
weirdest job.
Yeah. I would agree with that. It is the weirdest job. Yes.
No, but I'm with you, which is like, hey, my stress might it doesn't mean that anybody's got more or less stress. It's just
Right.
the people that when we say, hey, I'm having a tough day, that tough day may be that you be folding a company and you're laying off 25 people versus somebody saying a tough day is like, oh, my boss was mad at me. All right. So I want to kind of start to bring a point to this, Anthony, which is let's try to take this idea and start to give some real advice here, which is I think the first thing we've said is take some time, right? Take some time. Don't jump back in. I think Tom said it perfectly. Go talk to other people. Make sure that you're surrounding yourselves with other smart people that you can start to really figure out what that next thing is. But Anthony, you're a very, very interesting case here because you started several companies in very different domains.
Yeah.
Right? How did you think about that? And would you recommend that to another founder versus staying within your expertise?
I try not to make recommendations to other founders.
Just ask questions, right?
I'm usually wrong because it's such a personal question. For me, it's just about what interests me, and I have to be interested in something to go chase it. So yeah, it wasn't a conscious effort to go, I'm going to go do this because I think this is a good market or I have some value to add. It's like I have a lot to learn in this area, and therefore I'm going to try to learn and be a capitalist at the same time. That's the lens I look through.
I'm going to ask the same question, but I'm going to rephrase it to you just a little bit, Tom, which is you're saying go talk to people and start to be really curious, et cetera. What are you looking for when you're being curious? Are you looking, what opportunities? How are you kind of approaching this world? And I think it's, to your point, is you have to be patient because if you get pulled out too soon, you might miss the thing that's really going to light your fire.
Yeah. I mean, I think sometimes you're just looking for a shoulder to cry on, actually. I mean, seriously, I think sometimes that's all you're looking for, somebody who at least understands a little bit, because most people don't. But I don't know. I think, I mean, it depends on your situation, because every day is a new challenge. Every day is a different thing. John Maxwell is my favorite leadership guy and author. He says that entrepreneurs do not have the luxury of having 2 good days in a row. And I think that's true.
That is so good. Why have I not heard that one before?
Yeah. Sometimes it's 2 hours in a row, so, but yeah, I think
if you do have 2 good days in a row, just for you founders out there, if you're like, nah, I have had 2 good days in a row, it means that you missed something on one of those days.
That's true.
Exactly. You should go check your quick.
You're not looking hard enough.
Right. Definitely.
Yeah, just make sure you check those emails that went to spam because there's something that is really. All right, so I want to get to the speed round, but I want to give you guys both an opportunity to wrap this up because I think there's one other thing I want to just touch on here, which is because we are people that sometimes when we exit, we lack that purpose, we lack that vision. We end up jumping into something too early, too fast. And I think we kind of sense that this is not the right thing. I think that's, I don't know if that's been true for y'all, but it certainly has been true for me. Like, I just want to go do something. I want to have that purpose. I want to have some momentum again. And Anthony, this is really where you are right now. I call it the quantum field of possibilities. You're sitting there in this space and you've got so many interesting things going on. But I told you this the other day, that when that thing hits you, it's gonna yank you, right? It's not gonna be like feel like you're kind of moving and edging towards this thing. I want to get your take, Anthony, and then I'll ask you the same question, Tom. How do you know when that next opportunity is right?
When you can't stop spending time on it.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, stop. You can't stop thinking about it. Tom, what do you think? How do you
when other people are genuinely interested in it, when you find some customers or people who are saying, I would like to be a customer. Then you know you got something. Then you know you got something. Then you have to figure out how to grow it. But it reminds me of I read a story about the guys who started Uber, and I think they just had 2 or 3 cars in San Francisco. That's all they had. But they knew then it was going to work. They knew immediately people were interested. People wanted it. So that's what it is for me. Now, how to, then you got to figure out how to make it all work and how to grow it and stuff. That's a whole nother story. But I really think if you can find one person who's willing to pay you for something, there's a lot more other people out there who are going to willing to pay you the same. You just got to go find them.
I totally agree with Tom's, by the way, Chris. I think that's also, that's sorry.
You want to change?
No, I don't know. I think that's baseline. Like, I'm not interested in things that can't make money. So, that's the biggest qualifier for it is, are people willing to pay you for it?
But here's the thing: is like I actually disagree with both of you, which is because I think that you can't. So I think you can be wildly interested and curious about things, and I think you can follow that mental path. And I think that the time after an exit's the perfect time to go learn about cool stuff. You can go learn about things that may or may not be applicable in your future life. However, you can go scratch some intellectual itches. Anthony, both you and I think you're turning it into a career. I'm using it to leverage in my current business. But you and I both got insanely deep in AI because it's just the most powerful tool that we have. Now, I didn't use that directly to go into my business. However, now I'm using it in every part of my business. So I think it's one of those things where that time after an exit, you can afford to be curious about the world and go just learn and have a hobby, Anthony. You can actually go learn cool stuff that doesn't have to be a business. You can go, I don't know, read a book.
Start a podcast?
Yeah,
My problem is every time I get a hobby, I'm trying to figure out how to monetize that.
I can't. I mean, this is the founders. This is fundamentally the founders' dilemma is that it's hard to enjoy anything because if I go into a restaurant, I pick apart the things that they're doing wrong that they should be doing right in order to make it a better business. I do that I can't turn it off.
Yeah. So
that is something that is, if that's who you are as a person, you're likely an entrepreneur and don't know it yet.
Tom, I'll tell you a quick story and then we'll get to the speed round, which is Anthony and I've done this with almost all my other founder friends. We'll sit down and we'll go, God, what if we just started a lifestyle business? Like, what if we just did something really cool? Like, I don't know, like you have a sell beach chairs on the beach and just have this great life. And then within 5 minutes, you're figuring out how to create an e-commerce solution and scale it internationally. Just in your own mind, just the mental game that you're playing about this lifestyle business.
And then is the worst, are the 2 worst words of any startup founder's existence. And then we could.
Good conversation. All right, Tom, are you ready for the speed round?
Let's do it.
I'm going to read a question. Just give me the first thing that crosses your mind. How long should you wait post-exit before starting your next venture?
6 months.
Build in the same industry you just left or explore entirely new territory?
Same industry.
Your entire identity is wrapped up in your CEO title. Sell the company? Question mark?
No.
That's right. No. Which matters more after an exit, having enough money or having enough purpose? Good question.
Oh, having enough purpose is definitely.
Fire your entire advisory board if they pressure you into deals immediately post-exit. I'd be fire your advisory friend board if they're like, you should go do this post-exit.
It's hard to fire your friends. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Anthony's tried for me for years. It hasn't worked so far. Anthony,
he just keeps showing up.
Yeah, exactly. Founder fundamentals. So the identity separation protocol, starting defining your company 12 days. No, we got to have fundamentals first. Sorry, Anthony, I skipped you. Go. What'd you learn today?
So start defining yourself outside your company 12 to 18 months before exit. Document what you refuse to build next before exploring what you want. I think that's really critical. Structure 6 to 12 months of self-exploration post-exit, not permanent vacation or an immediate reinvestment. Plan pain point archaeology. Catalog every frustration from your first venture. They're your blueprint for your second. And the best thing to do post-exit, really and during that 6 to 12 months, is go take time to give back to other founders. It helps them, but more importantly, it helps you.
Yeah.
Deep dive resources, the Exit Strategy Playbook by Adam Coffey, and Finishing Big, How Great Entrepreneurs Exit Their Companies, on top by Bo Burlingham. But
That's
we're not going to
finish
do that,
big,
Tom.
Chris. That's not finishing big. It's finish big.
Finish. I mean, come on. Potato, tenses.
Okay, fair enough.
Anyway, but we're not going to do that, Tom. We want to contact you. We want to hear about you. We want to read your book. How do we get in touch? What can we do to learn more from you?
Yeah, definitely. So just visit my website, freilingagency.com. I think it's on the screen. And we work with leaders, authors, help people publish books, help people build platforms, and to grow their influence. So I'd love to hear from you. Love to talk to anybody who wants to reach out.
Anthony, I thought this was a terrific show, and it really is one of those things that we just haven't talked about, but it's a big, big deal in the lives of founders. So I'm glad we tackled it today. But we have more shows coming up this week. What do we got coming up? And what
we don't talk about upcoming shows anymore, Chris.
Oh, we don't?
We don't do that anymore. No, because it changes every week.
We have a show coming up. That's what
we have a show coming in. That's exactly right. So anyway,
so
for all of you listening, thank you so much for tuning in. Please be sure to visit us on howtofounder.com, where you can connect with us on LinkedIn and subscribe to us on our YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify channels. And please leave us a review if you enjoyed the episode. Otherwise, don't leave us a review. You are the pioneer of economic prosperity. Tom, Chris, and I are just so grateful to be there along the way with you. Thanks, everybody. Take care.